Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for SUI, FET and render price prediction based on Elliott Wave analysis. We're gonna start with SUI on the daily chart here, where we have a 3 waves towards the upside in a wave A and 3 waves down for wave B. Of course, where we have reached exactly the 1-to-1 fib level as we were expecting. As a retracement, we start to see a signal, of course, on the micro level. It has to be, of course, much more analyzed on the micro level. We're going to see where it's going to lead. But, of course, it is a signal of strength. And we start to see a retracement here toward the upside that it might unfold, of course, a wave C, of course, for higher prices here in case we are in an A, B, and a C 1-to-1 fib level around the $6.9 and $7 for a SUI. In case that we're still looking for lower prices here, it can be, of course, that this trend toward the downside is not finished yet, knowing that it looks like a finished 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, especially that this wave 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished impulse, taking the target as expected, and then start to move for higher prices. Let's move inside it on the 4 hours chart here for SUI, where we are looking at this potential scenario as, of course, a diagonal wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, extended wave 5 towards the downside. Now, the micro level here will decide, of course, are we still corrective and we are looking for a new low, or are we gonna continue bullish here and, of course, impulsively? And, of course, in case that we are corrective and we get new lows here, don't forget that this might transform to an extended impulse in double 1, 2, wave 3, 4, and a 5, 4, and a 5 might still unfold, of course, for lower prices. Let's dive inside it exactly on the 1 hour chart here, and we are looking here after the low that we got. We have a 1, 2 and a wave 3, and we're looking here at a sideways triangle, obviously a running triangle, and that because, of course, we took the high here as an A, B, C, D, and an E, probably finished, and we start to move towards the upside, of course, with some impulsive waves there that we can catch on the 15-minute chart, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, meaning, of course, impulsive. And we might start to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to finish, of course, this final wave 5 that we are expecting over there. The target for this wave 5 might be the following, taken, of course, from the zone 1 to the wave 3. And we're looking, of course, for this blue box to be reached at 1.618, 1.63 as well dollar for SUI. This is gonna finish only, of course, a potential A, B, and a C, or probably, in case we are very bullish here, it's gonna be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towards the upside. Yep, so this is regarding SUI. We're gonna see, of course, the next one, which is render. For render, we're gonna also start here from the all-time history, where we have as well the 3 waves toward the upside, of course, as a wave A here. We are looking at 3 waves as a zigzag wave A, and then followed by 3 waves for another correction in a wave A, but followed here by a triangle. This triangle means a lot, of course, and since that time we have discovered that yes, we might drop down, of course. Render was very clear price action for us within this triangle that we might still, of course, dropping down, especially 886 again was taken there, and we saw, of course, this massive move. So 3 waves, A, B, and a C. The wave C is not yet done, and that because, of course, you might still need to finish an impulse here or a diagonal for a wave 5. In case it is something else here as a W, X, and a Y, you can be, of course, in a wave Y that it might be an A, B, and a C, of course, to finish with the time required, of course, for this wave Y, which it has to create a balance between the W, X, and a Y regarding the time here. Minimum time required 0.618 Fibonacci level here that we gonna, of course, be required to finish this potential correction. What I doubted here to be is a triangle in a wave Y, and that because you got already a triangle in a wave X, which is very rare case to, of course, repeat the same pattern. Very likely that you might be here in an A. Probably the wave B is gonna be like 3 waves there, A, B, C for a wave B, and then having another move here for a wave C to finish up, of course, a potential running flat and then pushing again toward the upside in a wave C. 1-to-1 fib level $17, which it might be, of course, your A, B, and a C toward the upside. Let's move inside it on the lower time frame here, where we are looking at this impulse again to explain it. After your wave E triangle, you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Now, if you are in a wave 5, obviously this is a zigzag 3 waves, another zigzag 3 waves, and probably you're gonna get one more drop for a wave 5. Again, render is somehow also on the lower time frame a little bit more honest, yeah, so with the price action and showing, of course, a little bit lack of power or strength still, and kind of like that it is corrective, might be, of course, a little bit higher, but it's still corrective, and it might, of course, reach one more low. And by all means, this might ends up, of course, as an ending diagonal for render over there. If we dive inside it to see what I'm talking about here exactly, so, well, if you are really showing a strength here, you would like to see something impulsive. Currently, we got potential only double 1, 2. Now, the price is still ranging sideways without any kind of an impulse, so we cannot count any kind of a wave 4. Therefore, this makes it, of course, at the end, an A, B, and a C, because it's sideways without an impulse, meaning simply, of course, a wave B here, and you might be looking for a wave C still, which it can reach, of course, this target as a 1-to-1 fib level here, as a regular flat wave C. We might seek after the 1.99 or $2 exactly over there for render. Otherwise, you are in several 1-2s here, but yeah, as you can see, it is a very, very sideways A, B, C, D, E here, and you're looking to something as triangle. Yeah, so triangle without an impulse, and that means, of course, much more likely it is a wave B here. We're looking for higher prices, definitely. We're gonna see, of course, a wave C, but yeah, expect, of course, a trend again toward the downside to continue. And that because, of course, yeah, you might be in this diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Target $2 here as a zigzag or as a flat correction, and then okay, continuation for lower. The target is still the same blue box given since a long time, and still there. Of course, I'm looking for it to be hit as a wave 5. That was it for render. Let's move to FET finally for this video. So for FET as well, we are looking at the all-time history to 3 waves toward the upside. The same 3 waves that we have as a wave A, followed by a 3 waves, the same as a render, by the way, here. And we got the triangle, which it was very honest price action, again, very clear for us before getting the drop. And here where we called already further drop downs, right? So, and this is exactly what happened. Now, slight differences between FET and render is very interesting to mention is, of course, that you got a finished impulse probably there. So if we go to the 4 hours chart directly here, what we are looking after the wave E is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Now, a render, the difference with render and FET is that with render, you got a clear 3 ways, while this one is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 potential expanding flat here. And we are again impulsive, or I would say in a motive wave in a diagonal again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So we gotta be careful with it. It might be your wave 4 here, and it might be that you finish simply a wave 3 over there, right? And we're looking for a wave 5 to be finished still there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to hit, of course, our target as well, in case we're still looking for lower there. Now, basically, because of the micro level here that we got 5 waves down, well, probably we're gonna get, of course, a wave 2 and then dropping down. Okay, so this is very high possibility right now because the latest micro level has unfolded a leading diagonal again. Okay, so a leading diagonal again toward the downside, meaning continuation of the trend, especially that you did not took the invalidation of bearish, okay? Meaning the wave 4, in case that this is an expanding flat wave 4 here, you did not reach invalidation and you drop down again multiply. Yeah, so meaning motive wave is unfolding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 2 given, and then of course dropping down. Probably can be a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, or it can be even an impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, guys. So we gotta be careful. 0.20 cents and 0.16 even cents can still be, of course, a target for FET. Now, yes, definitely you can be looking as well at several scenarios, as we mentioned, of course, the diagonal or the impulse, but also there is a potential, of course, of higher prices there, where we took it today, but it might be, of course, your wave 2. We're gonna see it closer, but be careful, because we saw a signal of strength here also, not taking the low yet. It can be also a possibility here for a leading diagonal, wave 1, wave 2, and then of course continuation toward the upside. But this scenario still need, of course, a lot of evidence to accomplish. Now, internally yesterday I mentioned, okay, we might see, of course, higher prices. Today, few hours ago, we just took, of course, confirmation for higher, and it is taken. But be careful, of course, from the A, B, and a C here, that it might be unfolding, and of course, it might still be unfinished. So you might still be here in several 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, or even a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. A 1-to-1 fib level to be watched. Of course, I think we already passed it, or not yet, or we're, yeah, very close to it. We didn't reach it yet, but very close. Okay, so what I would like to see here is, of course, a price breaking this high here, this 1-to-1 fib level at 0.28, and then continuation towards the upside. If we see a decisive move, okay, that might be a wave 3 unfolding for higher as impulsive wave. But even with this, guys, we still have to be careful. Of course, don't forget, this is a huge wave 1. You might need a bigger wave 2. Yeah, so even if we push for higher, we might still be, of course, in a potential correction before we continue the drop toward the downside. So to be watched for FET, of course. And currently, I see, of course, on the micro level, a little bit higher prices, but we still have to be careful from the macro level that it continue the trend toward the downside until we break it, of course, within the micro level again. That was it for SUI Render and FET. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.